Welcome to this month's edition of The Breeze. Margie and Tina and I are going to be talking a little bit today about being a better person and whether that's even a concept you can get your arms around. And as you know, ladies, I do a lot of research for these shows.
Yeah, right.
Read a lot of philosophical tomes,
Right.
including the AARP magazine, where they had an article on Kathy Lee Gifford, whose post-Today Show career is evolving. Mm-hmm. And they say, are you reinventing your life? It says, absolutely not. I'm not reinventing my life. I'm not reinventing at all. I am evolving as an artist and a human being. Whatever. The second tome, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is Sports Illustrated. And specifically
Yeah, I want to look at that all the time.
Yeah, I know you do. And it's specifically the swimsuit issue, which I know you get
Oh,
every year.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But a lady named Tyra Banks. Do you know who Tyra Banks is?
Heard of her?
Yeah.
Okay. She was on the cover 15 years ago as the first woman of color to be on the cover of the swimsuit issue. And she's on the cover again this year, 15, 20 years later. And she is a person that has changed. And whether she's changed for the better or not, she doesn't care. Because she says, and I quote, perfect is boring. Perfect is boring, and different is better than better.
And who defines perfect in the first place?
Well, you tell me. What do you think? Have you improved? Are you a better person than you were 15 years ago?
I got more sense than I was 15 years ago.
Well,
so I guess maybe I'm better.
Well, that's debatable. But
Yeah. I love you too.
Yeah. But a serious question is, where are we going in our retirement? Are we trying to be a better person? Were we already where we wanted to be? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think that life's lessons has made me a better person. The expectations I put on myself and others, mm-hmm. I think are more realistic, and that I'm not looking for perfection. And those idiosyncrasies that we've spoken about before, I can either choose to ignore or address.
Okay. And those that you've addressed, has that been a successful endeavor?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. And what do you think, Margie?
Well, I think I'm not like on a trail to become a better person, but what I have found is that I have been working on three areas of my life that will give me a better life and a better retirement.
Oh, okay.
Whether that makes me any better, how can you get any better than this?
Yeah, well, I understand. But do you want to share some of these things?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share it.
Keep it clean.
I am. One is I'm allowing myself to do more of nothing.
Okay.
I've always been a striver. I've always been a producer. I've always been, probably the last 30 years of my work, I've been in charge. And it's always this constant view from being in charge, hoping nothing goes wrong, making sure everybody's in place. I don't have to do that anymore. And so I've created opportunity for myself just to some days do nothing constructive that I need to be accountable for.
Okay, it doesn't mean you're sitting in the house in the dark. It just
No, I turn the lights on and I watch a little guinea pig run around, and I have lunch. And
you got a guinea pig. Yeah.
But it's kind of a different view of my life. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I'm any better, but I am experiencing my life now in a way that I never did before. Okay. And one of those is just through how I choose to spend my time.
Okay, that's one. So you got two more.
Yeah. I have a great need to fix things. I don't mean appliances or vacuum. I mean delve in and begin to offer suggestions on how somebody might do something, to make it better.
Oh, for themselves?
That's over. Okay. I mean, it's not over.
No, but you're the social worker. You're always doing it.
I don't know if I was a social worker first or a fixer first, but I'm trying deliberately to not do that.
Stay out of other people's business.
Oh, that's harsh.
No, I'm saying, is that what you're saying yourself?
Yeah, I mean, even if they welcome it, but sometimes I think, you don't really want all that. But including my family, including my daughter, my grandkids, it's like, okay, MYOB, mind your own business, I say to myself. So I guess it's that area, and then not being accountable. I don't care so much anymore what people think, if I can say I can just spend the day doing nothing and had a great day.
That sounds like self-love to me.
Yeah, and
I think it's being comfortable with myself,
that was where I was going
not
to go.
not
It sounds
self-love
like
in a.
you've achieved a level of contentment that is satisfying or fulfilling or not bad.
You got it, Doc.
Thank you.
That's about it.
You know,
So
I see.
He's the new Phil.
yeah.
Well, let's get back
Yeah.
to some basics here. You know, how would you define better for people of a certain age who have had accomplished lives, who have been involved in important things, who have raised families? What is the definition of better? And the secondary part of that question is it a worthy goal?
I've never thought about the term better as much as new and improved, perhaps, but just as she said, self-satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that is a better, because then I'm not so concerned about what others think,
Mm-hmm.
and doing things that I enjoy and being responsible and accountable to me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
not letting others, kind of lead me to where they want me to be.
All right. All right.
What about you?
You don't know. Well, I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
It's fascinating. But I'll also tell you.
Stay tuned.
What I hear you saying is it's not necessarily a worthy goal to be demonstrably better to the world, as long as you are satisfied with the person you have become or you are becoming.
True.
Is that fair?
That's fair, but I think the caveat there too, as long as I'm not hurting the others that I love and that are important to me. Because there's a point in that equation where you could be, other people will feel that you're not giving to them anymore.
Okay.
That you're being selfish and more self-centered.
Well, okay. How about it, Marge? You got anything to add to that?
I'd like to hear your perspective first, Doug.
Well, some people would say that 15 years ago, a lot of us felt that we had it made, that we couldn't get any better, that we had great jobs, that our families were okay, and so on. And if you ask people, and later on in the show we'll have some interviews of people, a fairly consistent answer was, I don't feel like I'm better than I was 15 years ago. I feel that I'm different. I do different things. I have different perspectives. Mm-hmm. I personally think that I am better in a couple of ways. Although my wife, Mo, might debate this, I think I'm more patient. I think I have a greater sense of gratitude for the things that are happening in my life. Mm-hmm. The things I've been lucky enough to get and the things that I'm lucky enough to experience. And is that a better me or just a better situation? I don't know. But, there's also a dark side to this. There's a dark side to everything, y'all. And that is the person who comes on and sort of, I'm a good person, and you just have to like me the way I am. And they shove it down your throat. You run into any people like that?
Hello?
Oh, that's nice.
But there's a truism there.
Mm-hmm.
I elect to be with you and be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
If there were a point where I felt that was, caustic, then I would either divest myself of our friendship,
Mm-hmm.
or I would address it with you, and then if there was no cure,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd slowly walk away.
Okay. But if you're well, okay, I'll buy that. But if you're trying to be a better person, and that being better is a worthy goal in your mind, do you not sometimes lose sight of how you're impacting other people?
You can, but since being better is not my goal,
Now, okay, I'm not talking
yeah,
personally here.
but generally, I don't know that the masses really define or have that point in their life that says, well, I'm going to be a better person. Mm-hmm. I think that in retirement, it gives you or should give you the opportunity to kind of weigh in on what your past was, where you are now and what you would like to see yourself as or doing or being in the future. We're living longer. My mom just turned 89, and God willing, she'll be 90. And in my family, everybody's got that 10-year mark. My second mom will be 80. I'll be, and then my brother will be 60. And so it's kind of like that milestone. And for me to think about another 20 years, it's overwhelming in some ways. But it's exciting in other ways because my mom is of good mind and decent health, and I'm going like, yeah, I'm still looking for my rancher.
Want a piece of that, yeah. Well, how about it, Margie? You look at your next 15 or 20 years, which I'm sure you'll have, then are you going to be looking to get better? At the beginning of the show, there's a little quote there. It says, good, better, best.
Yeah.
But I think that's just an aspirational thing, not necessarily a goal.
Yeah, I think because I've sort of backed away from a lot of responsibility and fixing things, at some point I'm going to have to kind of find something to fill that void that I spent all that time on. Right now, I enjoy being alone. I've always enjoyed being alone. Alone does not equate with lonely. It's completely different. But I'm more social now than I ever was. Part of it because I'm not having to tend to a job. And because there's so many people here that are in my situation. They're not working, they want to go places, do things. So I expect I'll keep evolving, kind of reinventing. I have a lot of times I've said, I'm going to go do stained glass. I haven't.
Right.
And yet I'm not going to beat myself up over it. If I decide not to, I don't do it. It's kind of like, hey, it's okay.
That reminds me about a certain lady that wanted to go on a Conestoga or wagon train safari in the Dakotas or something.
Yeah, well, like you say, I still have 10, 15, 20 years.
Right, okay. Well, get those plans in order, okay?
Can you see her trying to get up on a horse?
Well, she'll be riding in the wagon with her little bonnet there and the chuck wagon, hopefully.
Did you ever watch Little House on the Prairie?
No.
No.
Oh, well, see.
Never have, never will.
That was my other life.
Oh, gee.
Okay. All right.
Well, Doug, one thing we can agree on.
Yeah, right. That's not us. Okay. Well, we went out on the street recently and we talked to some residents of Sun City, in fact, outside Perrysburg, about whether they thought they were a better person than they were and how they visualized their retirement, and we got some interesting answers.
Hi, we're here at Perrysburg this afternoon speaking to some Sun City residents about whether or not they're the same person today that they were 15 years ago and why.
I think I am. I've met a lot of new people from all different states. And everybody's so friendly down here. I used to work all the time. Now I play croquet, bocce. There's just so many things to do here, and it makes me a happier person.
Are you the same person you were 15 years ago?
Well, I actually hope I'm better. I have really enjoyed the gyms, the 3 gyms that are here in Sun City, and the other opportunities for walking, the walking trails and such. So it's been a great retirement, and I feel strong and in good shape.
Do you feel that you're perhaps healthier because of the things you just mentioned?
Definitely. It's great being retired and having the time to do these things and having them here to do.
Well, I hope so. I hope I'm a little smarter, a little wiser. I hope I've made some better life choices in the last 25 years. I like to think I'm a better husband and a father than I was, and now a grandfather. So hopefully, I like to think I am anyway.
Well, and Miss Banks, Tyra, that is, who I admire actually. She's made a lot of inroads in her life that have been positive, and she's been very successful, is developing a concept where you can go to what she calls model land. She's developing this concept, and that's a one-stop wonderland of all things fierce. Now, putting aside the celebrity crap that indicates to me, what does that mean to you?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Does she mean a physical place where people
Yes, she's
go
going
and
to
mold
have
themselves?
She's going to have a model land like a Dollywood or a Disneyland.
Oh, gee.
Oh, Jesus, right. But you can find all things fierce within yourself there, Tina.
So are you
I
gonna,
can't say what I was about to say.
are you gonna like reenact something you'd like to be, or what? What is this
No,
about?
it's going to be, redoing yourself cosmetically, clothing, style, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, like I said, I'm done with fixing, even myself.
Okay.
I could see that for somebody that's not in our generation, because I think that, I have my own style and I like my style, and a lot of people compliment me on that. And I could probably mentally do some adjustments on things, but the physical aspect of it, I'm fairly happy with.
Okay,
I
so-
could probably lend some things to her model land, because I got a couple of years on her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to that. Well, I don't know. I think, celebrities always have a need to, and a constant seeking of remaining relevant.
They have to.
And they have to if they want to be celebrities
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. But I think in terms of whether or not you think you are a better person, or that you are evolving into a better person, I think once again the process is to appreciate what you do have and what you do bring to the table, and to be grateful, overall grateful for what you have in your life, and the affirmation you get from being who you are. And you don't necessarily to have things to add to your resume at this point in your life, but you're striving to be the person that you've always wanted to be.
Yeah, and I think that we grew up so needing to please people, and
Oh yeah.
I think we're at a point now, at least speaking for myself. Yeah, I'm not going to be not pleasant with people, and I'll still make new friends and all those things. But it's almost more of a little self-centeredness that is allowed to kind of seep in now, because I have more time to say, yeah, but what do I want to do? Why did I retire? Was it just not to work? Or was it to develop a whole new,
Whole new
arena
you.
of experiences, which we
I,
have here?
I like the latter, what you're saying, because I feel for myself that there's so many opportunities, and if I want to take the time and the risk in some cases to do that, then it's mine, and I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, given all that, and given the things that we've talked about so far, then, when you were visualizing retirement, which I did starting about age 20, when you got to the point in your life where you were saying, okay, someday I am going to retire from this rat race or whatever you're in, and is retirement what you visualized, and why or why not?
Well, for me, the age that everybody talks about at work is 65.
Sure, they
And
still do.
so I retired 10 years before that to this community. And I never thought about retirement in a particular fashion. This is what I'm going to do. The Sun Cities weren't around for me to even think about. So coming to an active adult community, my husband and I said, hey, that sounds like a winner. That sounds like it could be fun. And it's proven to be fun. It's proven to be different. I have a lot of friends in various sections and elements. I'm not as active in a lot of clubs and things by choice. I wasn't that way in college. I'm not a joiner. But if there's something that I really like being here on this team, then I join.
Okay.
I make a commitment. Because I found that when you join something, they always want you to do something.
Well, that's key.
So my time is so valuable that I'm very selective as to where I lend it.
How about you, Margie?
Retirement here has exceeded my expectations.
Oh, excellent.
I feel like I can be very real, do as much or as little as I like, and I have no downside.
Well, I think I can agree with you, and as you know, I hate to do that, but I agree with you, gals, because when I got down here, I thought, one of the things I'd like to do is and we talked about this last month, is that when they found out what you did or where you lived or what kind of clothes you wore or whatever, they immediately sort of characterize you as a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into retirement, you can do one of two things. You can remain bound to that
That
image.
Identity.
Yeah. Or you can get outside your comfort zone and you can try different things. And for me, retirement was all about that. It was all about just shedding the past and learning from it, but shedding it and moving on and trying new things. I think that's worked out very well for me. And I don't know as I'm a better person. I feel like I am a different person in a lot of ways better because I'm different.
From my perception of what I've learned about you, I perceive you as being more well-rounded. Mr. Karaoke, I mean, that's not something that you would envision an attorney to be. You know, that you've just kind of added more fun to who you are. And you have the opportunity to do that and just kind of let it all hang out.
Okay, well, thanks, gals. And I will tell you, Larry Keilkopf has some interesting comments about this topic in his segment called Out of My Mind.
How you doing? What has traditionally been a rhetorical throwaway greeting is apparently a question of substance this month at the Breeze headquarters. Doug and the girls over at the main desk actually want to know if you are improving over time. As for me, absolutely. I mean, I think so. Anyway, my therapist says I'm making great progress. But as a senior citizen, I find that an objective analysis of self-improvement is not always an easy thing to come by. And it invariably involves a yin and yang, give and take skirmish, if not an all-out war between the physical and the emotional. My executive producer is timing this commentary with a stopwatch, so I can't regale you with the full litany of my aches and pains, but there are some seriously nagging ailments that are clearly preventing me from achieving all that I might. When I compare myself to Silver Striders, national champion softballers, and world-class master swimmers, I'm not even an also-ran because I don't approximate anything that could remotely be called running. The only time both my feet intentionally leave the ground at the same time with a smile on my face is when I swing them under the covers at night and sign off. I don't even walk fast, or for that matter, smoothly. More and more, my normal gait looks like a toddler's tentative first steps in search of the next piece of furniture to hold on to. But I do think I may be getting smarter, because there was a time when I was more obsessed about what I couldn't do or didn't have than I was appropriately grateful for life itself. Today I know people who are not just facing challenges I'm not at all certain I could begin to face, but who are doing it with an abundance of grace and courage that is far removed from me, even on those occasions when the odds are disproportionately stacked in my favor. For example, even on a good day when I'm playing a round of golf without pain and playing with a modicum of coordination, my handicap continues to climb. And as a result, I all too frequently stomp and curse like a lunatic as if I had legitimate cause for higher expectations. So no, that aspect of life still has plenty of room for growth. But even it has improved. I now at least occasionally have the wisdom to thank God for the privilege of playing golf badly, as opposed to primarily growling at him for not being a better caddy. As for the question, is retirement everything I visualized? Oh Lord, no. It is far more than I could have possibly hoped, much less actually deserved. Palm tree-lined streets, country club amenities, and most recently, the promise of a lifelong love I wasn't even looking for. I'm Larry Keilkopf, and none of these things make me a better person, but they sure make me want to be one. How about you? How are you doing?
Well, gals, that was a great conversation, and I think that we'll close and say that we may pick this up again in the next episode of The Breeze. And any final thought?
Be yourself and have fun with it.
Yeah, relax. Just be you.
And you don't have to be better. You can be different and be just as satisfying and have just as much fun and just as much fulfillment in life. Please join us again next month when we again shoot The Breeze.